happened and who was involved has always been critical. So today, at the Malcolm X and Dr. Betty Shabazz Memorial and Educational Center, we announce and give formal notice to the City of New York, the State of New York, and the federal government and its agencies, the FBI and the CIA, that the family members intend to sue bring a wrongful death lawsuit based on these new revelations that have now finally been substantiated. And the rhetorical question is this: if the government compensated the two gentlemen that were wrongfully convicted for the assassination of Malcolm X with tens of millions of dollars, then what is to be the compensation for the daughters who suffered the most from the assassination of Malcolm X? We intend to have vigorous litigation of this matter, to have discovery, to be able to take depositions of the individuals who are still alive 58 years later, to make sure that some measure of justice can be given to Malcolm X's daughters who, in this very room, were present with their mother when he was shot at 21 times, 17 bullets hitting him. If anybody deserves justice after these decades, it is these women. At this time, my most able co-counsel, who has been a champion for justice on many fronts, who I'm proud to stand with as we take on this historical endeavor for justice, will address you, and then you will hear remarks by one of Malcolm's daughters. But I give you my co-counsel, my friend, my brother, Attorney Ray Hamlin from New Jersey.
Thank you. Good afternoon. When you think back all those years ago, 58 years ago, as Attorney Crump mentioned, there were two people here that fateful day. Two young girls at the time who are now women, and for decades and decades and decades have had to live with the trauma of that day. They had a choice. The choice was to do nothing or to do something. They have chosen to do something after all these years and after confirmation that those who are responsible laid in the town halls and the city halls and government buildings that for reasons that only they know, decided that it was best to try and conspire to withhold information, this critical information that would have given the family some modicum of relief. But since that didn't happen, 58 years later, we're going to make sure that the family finally gets that modicum of relief that they justly deserve. And with that said, I'll turn it back over to Mr. Crump. Sure. I'm going to have one of Malcolm's daughters, and on behalf of Kabila Shabazz, who is here, who is going to proceed with this lawsuit, Ilyasa Shabazz, who's going to proceed with this lawsuit, Gamila Shabazz, Malika Shabazz, who passed away, her daughter is going to be a part of this action, as well as Malak Shabazz. We look forward to this opportunity to pursue this matter, finally.
Thank you very much, Attorney Hamlin. You know, this was a great injustice that was done to this family, these daughters, who in many ways, because the fraudulent concealment of the truth, were in a different kind of prison. Nobody can imagine what they've had to endure. And so for this great injustice, we will be filing a wrongful death lawsuit against these governmental entities for $100 million on behalf of his daughters that are coming forward. But there is no measure of money, there is no measure of explanation that they could ever offer this family. The only thing they can do is try to right a historic wrong, not just for his family, but for his people and this world. We have to right this historic wrong. So at this time, you will hear from Malcolm's daughter, Ilyasa Shabazz.
On February 21st, 1965, my mother came here excited to see her husband because a week prior, her home had been firebombed. She walked in here happy, and she left out shattered. Today, we will celebrate our father's life and legacy with the community because it is something that my mother did every year, that for as long as I can remember, with my sisters and just the larger community. We will also seek justice for a man, a very young man, he was only 39 years old, who gave his life for human rights. For years, our family has fought for the truth to come to light concerning his murder, and we'd like our father to receive the justice that he deserves. The truth about the circumstances leading to the death of our father is important, not only to his family, but to many followers, many admirers, many who look to him for guidance, for love. And it is our hope that litigation of this case will finally provide some unanswered questions. We want justice served for our father. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ilyasa. At this time, we will take a few of your questions, if you have any. Well, it was admitted to. That's why they paid $36 million to the two gentlemen who were wrongfully convicted. And so you can get with the district attorney's office and the city, who admitted that these gentlemen were wrongfully convicted and that there was exculpatory evidence that would have exonerated them that they did not release or reveal. And there are many things that will be put forth in our lawsuit that speaks to this factual evidence, things that many people have speculated over the decades but were not substantiated. We believe that now it can be substantiated based on the recent exonerations of those who were wrongfully convicted. Remember, J. Edgar Hoover, the head of the FBI, said on June 5th, 1964, do something about Malcolm X. In less than a year, he was assassinated. We think that the truth will finally come to light, and this family will finally get the legal redress that was due to them so many decades ago. Talking about justice delayed.
To what degree, if any, has or is Mr. Khalid helping, cooperating, or offering any of the substance to this effort?
Well, we plan on taking depositions of many of the figures that were involved, either rightfully or wrongfully, in the assassination of Malcolm X. It's not just about the trigger man, it's also about those who conspired with the trigger man to do this dastardly deed that killed that 39-year-old young father.
Do you believe you'll be able to depose him?
Well, we believe we'll be able, with the force of law, to subpoena and depose any individual that has relevant information. That's what has never happened in the aftermath of the assassination of Malcolm X. Martin Luther King's family had a legal proceeding where there were people put under oath, and because of the rule of law, they were compelled to give testimony. You had that with Fred Hampton's family. But we never had that with Malcolm X's family. And just like there are many who believed Martin Luther King was killed as a result of a conspiracy by the federal government and the local governmental entities, as well as Fred Hampton, with the federal government and the local governmental entities working in concert with one another. It is also believed that Malcolm X was assassinated at the will of governmental entities on the local level and the federal level. And we believe that them concealing this information is a big step in being finally able to reveal the truth of what happened in the conspiracy to kill Malcolm X. I didn't know if you want to add anything to that.
Mr. Crump, the fact that this is a wrongful death lawsuit, are you suggesting or claiming that these government agencies were involved in the conspiracy to assassinate Malcolm X?
That is what we are alleging, yes.
In the King and Hampton
Farrakhan still thought of as part of the information you're trying to get at?
We're going to make sure that we follow the evidence where it leads, and we have sued the federal government and their entities because they infiltrated and we have evidence that they infiltrated many civil rights organizations to be able to destroy them and destroy the leaders. I think J. Edgar Hoover referred to them that we must not have a black messiah after he made sure that Marcus Garvey was convicted of federal crimes. That was always his greatest fear, as is well documented. And you asked a question about Martin Luther King's family and Fred Hampton's family, and it been inconclusive. However, in both of those cases, the federal government paid money, which is in many ways an admission that you were involved somehow. And so, however they admit it, this will be a landmark case, whether they compensate the family or we go to verdict.
Is Mr. Farrakhan still being looked at all?
We're looking at every aspect into the assassination of Malcolm X. Yes, ma'am.
About the evidence that the CIA was involved with Malcolm X?
Well, Amy, we are going to talk to those individuals who were wrongfully convicted, not just of the assassination, but in the days leading up to the assassination, that we believe this was an orchestrated effort. And so what we have to do is connect the dots. And, you know, as people get older, as they get ready to meet their maker, the hope is that they would look at Malcolm X's daughters and say, we wronged them, and we need to make that right before we leave this earth.
Just to be clear, because you're talking about a conspiracy, you're saying the conspiracy included the FBI, the CIA, and the Manhattan DA?
The conspiracy included many, many individuals and many, many government entities and agencies and many affiliates of those agencies. We'll keep you informed, and we will certainly provide you with our notice. Press at bencrump.com will get the notice to you.
His daughter,
How old were you? 4. 4. How old were you? And 2 years old, and unborn twins.
I'm sorry, the one in the green, I forgot. Ilyasa, you were 4?
2. 4 and 2. And Keelan was 4. Thank you.
Thank you.